interference or building another tree in this town. You have more gas. Can't park there. They turn a two-lane highway when it's a one-way street.
There you go.
We're going to open the public hearings at 6 o'clock. Public hearing number 1 is a liquor license renewal for Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Do we have any questions or comments about their renewal? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Public hearing number 2, marijuana facility license application for Foothill Farms LLC. I believe the gentlemen are here for that. Are there any questions, or do you want to speak?
Where's it located?
It's out behind Call of the Wild.
I don't know.
Between
I
Ski
just
Field
curious
and
where it
Pantry.
was.
Yeah.
Because I think you guys just outdo yourself.
Yeah.
People
Are there any questions from the board? No more questions from the public? Okay, we'll close the public hearing number 2. Public hearing number 3, application for pawnbroker precious metal dealer or second-hand dealer license, Haas Trading Company. I believe you're here for that. Are there any questions about the license for Haas Trading Company? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you. Selectmen's meeting agenda. Call to order and flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2, action on the minutes. Questions or comments? All those approved. Opposed? Thank you. Number 3, adjustments to the agenda. Number 4, public comments. Please state your name and the town that you are from for the record if you wish to speak. Chuck?
I got 3 questions. My name is Chuck Owl and I live in Oxford. First, I want to know if the floor plan for the new town office is up and how much space has been allocated for the food pantry, which you all agreed to, and do they have adequate power to run all of the refrigeration that they need? That's question 1. Question 2 is, why did we spend all that money redoing a sidewalk that is very rarely used? I've lived here 40 years. I can't remember seeing more than 10 people use it. In its day, it was a wonderful thing because we had the woolen mill, we had the school on the far end, and we had the row houses for people to walk back and forth to work. Nowadays, it doesn't get used. The only people I saw on the census been paid, bikers, riding their bikes down there, which happens to be against the law. And the other thing is, the party that was supposed to go on down to the beach Saturday, I understand is canceled, and I'd like to know why.
Adam, do you want to address floor plan questions on number 1?
Sure. I'm happy to share floor plans. I don't have any floor plans with me tonight, but happy to share floor plans. Food pantry is on the agenda tonight for discussion with the board. That's going to be talked about tonight. As far as sidewalk, I'll let the board talk about the sidewalk. And as far as what was the last thing?
The beach.
Beach.
Yeah.
Community
Yep.
days.
So we only had a couple of vendors for that. So the reason it was canceled is that we didn't have enough people to oversee it. We didn't have enough vendors. It just wasn't coming together. So that's why it was canceled. The hope is that the new rec director next year will be able to do a bang-up job. So that's why.
I'll speak on the sidewalk that I live on.
I know you live on
And
it.
I've lived there 40 years.
Yeah?
And I can tell you right now, there's more than 10 people a day that walk that sidewalk. It's been a long time coming to get that sidewalk done. It's been very dangerous. It's the responsibility of each municipality to maintain the sidewalks if they have sidewalks. And for 40 years, this town has not maintained those sidewalks, so this was the year to maintain them. The total cost was $135,000, and it was well needed and well worth it being done. It also corrected a lot of the water drainage. Right in front of my house and a few of the other neighbors, the water pools there and puddles, and it does all the way down the road. Now the drainage works properly. So I have to disagree with you when you say that nobody uses it, because it's used every day and every night by many, many walkers in this town, and they don't just live on King Street. So I do think it was very well needed, and it was a really good job that was done. Thank you.
You don't mind if I disagree, right?
No, I have no
Okay,
problem.
I'm just asking, I don't want you to get pissed off, because I
No,
don't see it your way.
No, I'm not pissed off. The fact is that it is used by a lot of people, and it needed to be done.
I'd like to know roughly what time I can see these people. I drive through this town random times, daily, and I'm not lying to you, Sharon, I don't see people. I don't live on it, so I don't sit there and watch
Well,
the sidewalk.
that's why I can say that I do, and I live right on the corner of King and Pismo Beach, so I can tell you, I see a lot. So, because my computer table is right in front of the window, so I see people that go down to the beach, I see the speeders, I see the walkers,
You see the speeders?
I see a lot. And I've never seen you drive by. So,
Well, you don't even know what I drive, but.
any other questions?
Can I ask Joyce Ryan,
Yes.
the assessment, when you talked about having the assessors come to the summer people,
Yes.
part-time people, earlier, though we're still here, is there any progress on it? I have not received any word from the community, any, cards or anything,
Okay.
so I don't know.
I'll let
what the
Adam
situation
speak
is.
on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I told them that we wanted them to hit up the seasonal sections of town more first, and they told me that they would. So I'll follow up again to make sure that's gonna happen.
Because I haven't received, any cards or anything that they were coming.
I did get 2 cards. I have property on the lake as well, so I'm assuming one was for my house and one was for my property on the lake. And you got one too. And they have been to my house. So,
Okay.
I know that, I think they took that side of the lake first. Because I got some people that called me
yeah.
about it coming. Okay, then they'll do over this.
Well, we're here till the end of October, so maybe we'll see
Okay.
something.
Yes, I'm Danny Gilpatrick, and I'm the new forestry teacher up at the Oxford Hills High School. I'm from Maine, and I'm also on the select board. I'm the chair of Maine Select Board, so I can appreciate what you guys have to do. What I'm looking to do is work with the kids on town property, specifically the town farm property. In 2019, I did some logging there for the town. I don't know who was on the board at the time. It was handled through Bill Newcomb. And we started the process of working through those older plantations. I'd like to work on that with the kids. It would be a good place. You had Jim Bennett, who worked on that property 40 years ago, who cut through the school program and worked on it. And the kids can go back and see it, because so many of the lots now get subdivided, developed. So you work on a place, and then it's gone. Whereas something like that, he can go back and say, yeah, we worked here 40 years ago. So it shows long-term forestry and stuff like that. There are some other projects we could be involved in, such as, like, we were involved with the dugout at the high school. We did the digging. If I'd known ahead of time, we would have actually sawn the lumber for the dugouts. But we just didn't have enough lead time, so that's how but we can do things like that, and we're looking to do stuff like that for the town. And also work with the town. And I'd like to get your permission to work with Adam to set up an agreement with the school and the town to do projects like that. You could say, give the kids a lot of chance to learn a lot of stuff and do a lot of stuff that's community oriented and be able to do things like that. It's an opportunity. 'Cause we have a small excavator, we have some other equipment too.
Couldn't hurt, could it?
No, I think it would be a good idea if you worked with Adam.
That certainly don't have a problem with that at all, like we talked about, so I think it's a great idea.
Right.
I think it would be good for the kids in the community. And I came to Oxford first because I've worked with Oxford in the past, with Billy Newcomb on that lot and some other stuff. And in the future, we'll probably end up working with South Paris, Norway also too, because there are projects that we could do. And it'd be good for the kids to learn and have a chance to do something that's community project oriented. So that we were doing stuff to teach them, like the excavation, various things like that.
Because you said it was beyond just logging, it's also, you know, small excavation projects and that kind of stuff too, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. We're getting a grading system for our little excavator and that'll be installed. If you guys, I talked with Jim Bennett and they have, on the roller rink road, there's a subdivision you guys own. Something like that would have been a perfect example for us to take the excavator in there like this spring. There's no rocks, no stumps, no wires, no power lines, nothing in the ground for dig safe or anything like that. So you can put the kids out there. They can't hurt anything. They can't hurt the machine. They can't hurt anything exciting. Wide open space, digging stumps. What better way to teach the kids? Because I'm not one to put them in a simulator and have them just actually have them digging dirt and actually doing something is a project like that. So anything we can do would save the town money too.
Thank you, just
Yeah.
make arrangements with Adam and see what you can do.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have we walked the lines, or do we do that still, you know, the lines of the town?
I haven't done it since
That's been a long
Yeah.
time.
back in the late 90s.
Do we not do that any longer?
Probably has been done since.
Well, I was just gonna say, they could do that.
We don't do a lot of the lines just because of legality.
Right.
Well, this isn't, this is going from our markers that we put out
Yeah.
that are already there. They aren't adding anything.
Right.
If there's, one is down and gone, we replace it, correct? Am I wrong on that? So that it stays that way, but we don't, it's not put surveying or anything like that.
Right.
It's literally walking.
Yeah.
A lot of text.
No, a lot of times what we use in the past is it'd be red lines, red markers on trees, just
Yeah.
repaint. That
Yep,
was it.
it's just redoing it, but it's kind of nice, I think it'd be kind of nice for them to know that that does happen.
Yeah.
There's probably nobody else in this town.
Like you were, like you said, to that.
Are there any other comments?
I got one more.
Okay.
It reminded me, would somebody ask, it's Michael Cherry's that owns the space right on the end of our road for the school, where the old school used to be? Would-
That corner.
Yeah, do we have something giving permission for someone to clean it? I know Tim, what's his name, did it for years, and then he died. And then Dennis did it twice, and we thought he was gonna die. And then I did it once, I think, and nobody's done it for a couple of years now. They go in, just weed whack literally in the rocks, because you can hardly see the monument that they put up. But does the town need a release from Michael because it's his property?
Is it right in the ditch, Lois?
Pardon?
Is it the ditch that you want weed whacked out?
No,
No, we're
It's
not.
good.
Oh, right around the monument
Just off the
itself.
corner where you turn
Yeah.
to Providence Hill on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Because my boy originally did that for the Eagle Project 100 years ago.
Well, yeah, he did a good job. I don't think we'd know where they were half of them anyway if he hadn't, but, you know.
Maybe Michael would just go over and do it if somebody asked him.
Well, I thought maybe we'd try somebody, but I think if it isn't Michael, I think that maybe, I would think liability, you'd have to have a permission from him for somebody to do it.
can check with the treasurer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask Sharon tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'll remember them all.
Any other comments? Okay. 5 business items. 5.1, review approval of liquor license renewal application for Applebee's Neighborhood Grill Bar.
Seconded.
All those approved? Okay, it's approved, Wendy. 5.2, review approval of marijuana facility license application, Foothill Farms LLC.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. 5.3, review approval of pawnbroker, precious metal dealer, or secondhand dealer license, Haas Trading Company.
Motion. Second.
Questions? All those approved? Approved, Wendy. 5.4, appointment of Edward Adams Jr. to the Planning Board Committee.
Seconded.
Any questions? All those in favor? 5.5, food pantry discussion. Adam.
Alright. So, as Chuck already brought up, food pantry was discussed at the town meeting some as well. We were also discussed in the past the idea of the food pantry living in the side of the rec building as well. And so we've reached out to Sue over at the food pantry, and I've talked to her. I've also talked to Karen at the food pantry, and we've kind of tossed around the idea of would the rec building actually be more suited for the food pantry opposed to upstairs here or other locations. So I was hoping that we could have an open discussion about that very topic tonight with the board and those from the food pantry that are here to see, is this something that is agreeable? Is this something that we want to look at? Is it something that would work for both sides? What if it is agreeable? What do we need to do to the building? What can we do to make this work? So that was kind of the dialogue I was hoping that would happen tonight, if that's possible. I know that if we do go down this route, we need to clean out the side of the building, which is something that needs to be done no matter if the food pantry goes there or not. So I definitely, if one way or another, I think we need to make strides to, if they're going to move to that location, we need to make strides to, it'd be nice to have that happen before we, by the time we move out of this building too, so that it's all on.
What's the thought of this food pantry?
I'm sorry, with that?
What's the thought of the food pantry?
Hi, Susan Milligan, Oxford. We've had a lot of discussion over the past few months. We think that would be a very suitable spot for us. Our clients can line up. We can go out the back door, the front door. As far as the actual storage area itself right now, it needs to be thoroughly cleaned. All of the stuff would have to be removed, the black plastic stuff. We talked with Good Shepherd as far as what they would require for us to be able to have a facility there. Running water, bathroom facilities, all of those things that we have there right now. I imagine there isn't any outlets further down from into the storage area. We would need outlets for our freezers and our refrigerator. As it is now, we need outlets for some sort of lighting and we have to get a desk. It's very dark in here. Short term, to get us down there, we would need a wall of some sort with a door to separate the pantry from anybody that's out in the, if they're renting or whatever, so we have our own space. Doesn't have to be anything special. Obviously, it would be good to have some sort of heat, cooling out there, but when I was on the rec committee, I don't remember it being extremely cold out there. Lois, you can speak to that piece. It's, a heat pump like is out in the other area down the road. would be nice. Removing the roll top or the garage door, which you could repurpose. And putting in a regular people door for access that way down the road certainly would be beneficial. But just to get us from upstairs into a pantry that we can continue with, we don't have to have the roll top door going. We can access through the rec center. And I guess the big thing would be the wall and the electrical outlets and being cleaned would be to get it started.
And what,
Yes.
that's just what it is, but do you have any funds to help?
We have some. We're not getting as much food from Good Shepherd. They're in the same price as everybody is as far as being able to provide that. So we have been helping out with what donations and stuff we have. We do have some funds, but until we can get down there and actually see what we need for bigger renovations of the shed, right now it's the electrical and the wall and being cleaned up.
Well, when you originally looked into this, once you thinking that we were gonna have to come in and do a little remodeling and electrical work before we put them over there anyways, correct? Or am I
Well,
wrong?
I mean, what we were kind of like what she was just saying. I think to get them over there, we can get them in there pretty quick. But I think long term, like I kind of put in some of the notes too, I think we should put an electric meter over there and have the,
Yeah.
you know, have their own power source, have their own outlets, so it's separated. As far as the wall and the separations, one of my thoughts was, it's not like they're in there 5 days a week, you know, operating 5 days a week. On the rec schedule, I was just thinking we'd block out the times, especially at first here. If they're going to be in there Thursdays from this hour to this hour, and Wednesdays for deliveries, we could just, they'd be renting the hall, if you will, occupying the hall for those hours, and then until we can get some of these changes made. So, I mean, then they'd have access to the bathroom facility and all that
Right.
stuff.
My concern is, like, I was just down there for the TILA meeting, and in order for the chairs and whatnot to come out, that roll top, inside roll top, where roll door was up. So it really wouldn't be a secure facility. And it doesn't, I mean, it'd be something as a very simple half wall, just to, somebody wanted to get in there, that it wouldn't stop them, but.
There's something to keep a separation here.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, what's your question?
Non-question.
Comment?
I really don't agree with it. I don't think the thing is big enough for recreation, but hiring a director that we have high hopes for. I do anyway. And I don't know whether we'll store the stuff we have to do. We do Christmas, Thanksgiving, and, all those. It's not that big. And I'll tell you right now, you will need to put in a breaker board for it. We can't even run 3 of those cookers without blowing the line. So you're going to have a breaker, a whole system for 2 freezers and 2 refrigerators and 3 freezers.
One refrigerator.
2 freezers, so.
Well, whatever it is, you can't run,
Well,
quite frankly.
space-wise, we can make it work, because,
Yes, I can agree with that, but space-wise, what is rec going to do?
well, you have the other, as you go through that door, you have that area in there.
Where the furnace is, you mean?
Right, and you have the access where the freezer and I guess there's skates or something there now. The petition would be on the right side of that door. So you would still have some space.
I don't see any potential.
I have a question on what you just said, Sue. So you wouldn't, if we go in from the rec building, from the building itself, we're going in this way, and then you have the long end here where the overhead door is.
Correct.
And then you have the furnace end down here.
We don't need a furnace in.
So you wouldn't want that entire space there. You would want the wall cut off as you're going in right there.
Yes.
Okay, so from that point to where the end of the furnace room is, that would still be maintained by brick.
Correct.
So the wall you're talking about is to the right.
Yes.
Okay, do you know that? All right, that makes sense.
But you said you were gonna put a meter in. Once you put a meter in, you're gonna put your own wood,
Right.
so they can have all their own.
We ain't talking $1 million to have that hooked up, so you
No.
can free and some other stuff. Figure it out, I mean, you managed, you had to do your remodeling up the other side. Come in there for a day, make a wall,
So I can see that working
Yeah,
a lot
but get the place
better
cleaned
than
out first.
I was, when you were talking, I thought you were talking about a wall right there where the
Oh.
opening is going in, but I can see
No.
that.
No,
working
it would be
even
on
better.
the inside of the storage area.
Yeah,
Separate, just to separate our pantry area from the rec center
yeah,
area.
okay.
And as far as long-term, there's in the works a golf tournament at Poland Springs like they used to do in the past to raise money. Anybody want to donate anything, feel free, but put that pitch out there. But that is certainly something we will continue to hopefully have as a fundraiser. I don't, you know, and we do get donations occasionally. We don't have the money to go in and redo the whole thing, but I think if the town is willing, which we certainly would appreciate, and I know the townspeople who access the pantry would appreciate whatever you can do to help us get moved down there, we would be extremely grateful. And then we will kick in what we can, but it doesn't all have to be done by the end of October. I can see this as a kind of a step kind of thing. And until we get down there, we don't even know, because there's so much stuff there now, we can't even really see how much space we would have to work with.
Are you planning to have somebody start cleaning?
Yes,
I
that
don't
was gonna
know that,
start
but-
immediately, yeah.
Okay, I think it's a win-win situation.
And what we're hoping is, I mean, we still have to have pest control. We pay our share, and the town does their pest control here. We still would do that. We still insure our own workers, you know, all the things that we've done here. So, do you have any other questions?
Chuck
I
had his
do.
hand up first.
I do. Adam, I wanna see the floor plan, and I wanna see the space laid out for that food pantry, that 5 people setting up there, excluding you, all said was going with the town office. I didn't bring it up just for a thought. I brought it up because people had asked me about it, and when I mentioned it, all of you 5 saw the townspeople who were at that town meeting were 100% for it being in the new town office. Now, if it don't work for her, that would be all right. But just because you want it down here, that ain't what the people voted. And each one of you want to
Wasn't a
remember
vote.
that.
There was no
No,
vote.
vote on it.
And if I could speak to that, we looked at the outside of the building, because we couldn't go in, obviously. And there's only one major exit
Yeah.
into the parking lot. There's an emergency exit in the back onto the lawn. So wherever we would be in that building, we'd have to go out through
The
the
front
main
door.
entrance. It really didn't look like it would work traffic-wise, you know, with
People.
people.
Well-
We have people lined up to the K House when we first opened up. And that has been doing that for the past couple of months. We're growing in need. We have 3 new clients today.
You had a lot of
So-
people today.
And you're gonna get more, trust me.
And so at the rec we've been doing a lot of thinking about this. They can line up in the parking lot, they can come up to the back door, we can take a cart out with their food delivery, they can go around the building and out onto the road. And traffic-wise, safety-wise, we prefer people staying in their car for our insurance and because we don't want that much people-to-people contact. It's just the times we're in.
Joyce,
And I really appreciate your support.
Well,
And,
I hold all of them accountable, not you.
well,
Joyce, you had a question?
No, all this so-called stuff that has to be cleaned out, what kind of stuff is it? I mean, is it needed by the rec department? I mean, if they're gonna clean it out, where are they gonna put it?
There's a lot of just junk, and there's stuff that the rec department uses that will all be sorted through.
Will they have any storage? I mean, it's taking away the storage space. I mean, it's a small, it's not a big place. I mean, I understand the problem, but I'm not certain for a food pantry. It's just that, are they gonna have enough room for them to do their work and the rec department to do their work? Where do you put all this? You know, you got so much room and that's it. It's kind of messy.
Adam?
Well, I think Sharon can speak to this too. I mean, when it comes to the storage, I mean, I think getting that space organized and getting it pared down to what doesn't need to be there and what needs to be there between the upstairs storage and the end space that we're talking about, I feel fairly confident there's going to be enough room. But that's my general perspective. We're going to, start going through that and, getting it through and we'll get a better picture and they'll actually get to walk through the space with it empty and make sure there's enough space for them as well. But I agree with Caldy. It feels pretty like this is a win-win for both sides if it's amicable, so.
Lois, did you have a question too?
I still, number one, it really isn't a big enough space. It's really only 12 feet across there.
well,
And you're only
I wish there was someplace else in Oxford. We've been working on this from the time that we knew that they were going to move. And there is no other spot. This is our last option. And those 45 families, excuse me, that we provide food for are going to be out of luck. So we will make that size space work. Would it be nice to have a brand new facility with lots of room? Yes. Do I see that happening?
No, because I really don't think the taxpayers of the town of Oxford should actually be paying for any of this with tax dollars because it's not what we do with tax dollars. The 45 families, I don't have a problem with the pantry or the concept at all, but it really is not. There's no budget in there. Is there a budget line that says that we're going to do all these things? Or there is no ceiling in there. There is no insulation. We insulated the wall between the big room and the small room. We didn't insulate any of the outside. It's got to be completely insulated. The ceiling has to be in there. We didn't bring the ceiling into there. We did what we could with the money we had. And that piece was always going to be done. Everything we did that by hook and by crook. And Joe, what's his name? Well, we did. We got a lot of it out of down to Augusta and all that. But we didn't ever buy anything. We worked to get what we had to get that building to the position where it is now. And then we quit, basically, just because. And I don't see how we gain anything by taking something apart that I would like to see grow in this town. I really would. And I can't imagine we're going to hire a person to run a program and we're going to eliminate the room where they would store it. You want to do a summer program, well, you're going to have places to put food storage for that. What you want in the end doesn't work with taking and making it a smaller space. I mean, it's only 40 by 40, basically, if you take out the bathrooms and everything, a 40 by 40 room. It's 2 of these rooms now. And then then everything out there is storage, which is why there's so much stuff in it. So I just don't see it having this, I don't think it has enough room for you to store your stuff, and I know it has no power.
Right now, what we're hearing is, Sue, and you are the president of this, right?
I am.
They're willing to work with the town. They believe that the space will work for them, and we just have to start by cleaning it out and assessing what needs to be done, electrical wise and everything. Is the board in agreement to have Sue work with Adam on this?
I think we should move forward with it.
Floyd?
Yeah, I'm all good with it.
Dana?
I'm good with exploring this as an avenue, if this is feasible. I don't know that we know yet, but I think it should be explored.
Scott?
I just have a couple concerns I will echo that Lois just mentioned. We sat here this board sat here and expressed the concern about expanding the rec department and its programs, and I am 110% in favor of the food pantry, but I think that we either do a lease with them, or and obviously the lease can be renewed, but I think you need to set a time to this, because it doesn't make sense to, if we build the rec programs up, as Lois said, and we need to have space to store equipment or whatever, that we're leasing out a town-owned building to a nonprofit, and we're going to spend taxpayer money to build a new building, because I just think that I had wished that when we found out that we were selling here, I would wish they had really pursued the avenue of going to Skiabi and doing like we were going to do for the town office and put something where the old PD building used to be. I think that would have been a great location, easy in and out, great access.
I would agree with that thought of a CRE type building in that spot, but I don't know if the food pantry can afford to do that.
We cannot.
One group of taxpayers doesn't want to support the food pantry at all with taxpayer dollars, and another group, thinks it should be in a town-owned building. So you're not going to please everybody. I think we need to explore every option that we have, and I think the rec center is a good, feasible option to look at, perhaps temporarily. I don't envision it being a forever home, but perhaps some funds could be raised, and we could look at a new small building. I'm just curious, how many square feet, if you were going to build a building for the food pantry, how many square feet of a building do you need? Single story?
I wouldn't even hazard a guess.
Could you fit the food pantry in this room?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're talking
Would that be
250 square feet, maybe?
pie in the sky? Absolutely. That would be where we would love to go. We even looked at that oral building that no longer exists. But that we just don't have the funds. And then when it's not just, if somebody donated the building, we still would have to pay the electricity, we would have more insurance, those kinds of costs, we wouldn't have enough money to maintain.
So if you had your own building, you couldn't afford it. You wouldn't be able to afford the electric bill, the insurance bill, the stuff that would go with it.
Yeah, because if you have your separate own building, you have a lot of costs. We'd still have to have the hot and cold running water, the sewer, the electricity, the insurance, the all of those homeowner kind of things that you have to take care of. And we cannot afford that. We just don't have the donations to do that.
Let's move forward on this.
Hey, yeah, I was just gonna say, we can hash back and forth the cost of things and that, but if everybody here was here at the town meeting, the attitude of the people, not the vote, but the attitude of the people, 60% of them said that we should have the food pantry. And that's what I believe, and that's what I want to do. I think we should move forward on this. I make a motion that we go ahead and let them negotiate with the town manager.
Or at least get it cleaned out,
Right.
look at it, and then tell us what we're really into. What harm we're gonna do. We're gonna clean it out anyway.
Right.
Let's clean it out, and, have somebody look at it, see what it costs to get it wired and spruced up, so it'll work.
Joe, the second on the motion.
That's just, you're seconding or I'm seconding?
No, colleague made the motion.
I'm seconding, yeah, okay, good.
Further discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you, sir.
Sharon, I got a question. You guys are gonna clear that out, and I'm supporting her whatever she wants, and she wants that space. Okay? She don't have no money. It's gonna require wiring, and upgrading wiring. Is the town willing, as a board, are you willing to come up with the money out of some fund to wire it properly and make it work for the food pantry?
So I'll answer that, Chuck, because anything that's wired would be wired properly if the town did it. And right now, Adam is going to work with Sue on what options we're looking at, and we'll have another report back at our next board meeting.
Yeah, but you avoided the answer to the question. Would you be willing to cover the cost of it? Because she can't.
Well,
Let's find out what its cost is gonna be.
maybe.
That's
We
what
don't
we're
know
gonna
what
be
it's gonna be.
looking at.
That's why they gotta negotiate, and find out what's taking place. I mean, we can't put the cat before the horse yet.
You could get it on the table, Chuck. Work with it, come on.
$175,000. Why we left it the way it was.
Department head reports. Chief Jack?
Please bear with me if I read from a piece of paper. I want to give you the most accurate stats that I have. And these stats are going to be from January 1st till today. We got to go and pull the numbers. One of the big issues starting, especially this spring, was speeders. King Street, Allen Hill, Coldwater Brook. We had 86 traffic complaints called in. So far this year, we've written 232 traffic citations, 153 traffic warnings. Our calls last year was a little over 4,000. This year, right now, we're at 2,834. So I can't give you the exact number of how far ahead we are, but we are significantly ahead of where we was before. As of tonight, we've had 98 physical arrests, 89 criminal summonses have been written, 67 thefts of property, 17 shoplifting incidences, which is on the rise big time right now, we're noticing. 74 burglaries. We have solved quite a few of those burglaries, which I'm proud of, the sake of the guys. They've been working really hard on these things. 149 motor vehicle crashes, 38 domestic related incidences. Just the other night, we had one that was a choking related one, which was a felony. Very serious case. These cases take hours to investigate. They're not just you respond, make an arrest, and it's over. They're pretty time consuming. We've had, I did search how many gross sexual assaults we've had this year. We've had a pile, we've had a couple of as of late. And again, they take numerous hours of investigation, especially for an officer that's trying to work on these cases. It ties up a lot of time. We also have child abuse and adult protective cases that we've been working on. They're kind of stacked up a little bit, but I've been working with the DA's office about that, and they've been really, really good to help us with that. To put this in perspective, this year we have seized in fentanyl 529 grams. And again, put that in perspective, 2 milligrams will kill a person. We have, I believe, $3,000 budgeted for drug testing for felony cases, which we use that every year, but I've been having great luck getting restitution out of these cases. It's $155 a case to test. In some of these cases, if we get 3 different piles of drugs, this $155 times 3. And also, for our department, we're down an officer right now while we're still restructuring from my new position. I need to get a new captain in place, which we are getting pretty close to getting that complete. And then we'll work on filling that open patrol position. We did a little bit of research, spoke to an Oxford County deputy. As of today, they state they have 5 full-time patrol deputy openings. Sergeant from State Police told me Troop B in grade is 12 troopers short, and statewide they're 54 troopers short. So I feel extremely fortunate that we are sitting where we are right now with manpower. Because a little over a year ago, we wasn't sitting like this. The chief and I was working overnight shifts just to try to keep things running. So I feel very fortunate for where we are right now. I took the board's advice back when we worked on getting the chargers about RFPs for next year. I have 3 of them out already, and I got 1 back. So I should be sitting okay with that when it comes time. To give you an update on the chargers, still sitting in the garage. They're all lettered up. They're ready to go. I've been dealing with Mr. Hartford about that. He's been emailing me regularly about the equipment that's come in. The last email I got was almost 3 weeks ago when he told me that he had another shipment of our equipment and he's still missing a few small things. And he told me when we started this process it would be 2 to 3 months to get the equipment. And I learned that what he said is very true. It's hard to get equipment today. A lot of it's on back order, and then some of the prices that they have quoted for that equipment has changed. It's gone up simply because of manufacturing. So I am a little concerned about that. But we'll see at the end where that falls when we're done putting everything together. Our police department just qualified with our firearms, and that went very well. Officer Kyle just completed the AR armor school, so he can work on our weapons, which is a big help. Officer Chassis just completed methods of instructions, which allowed him to get into the firearms class. So now we have our own firearms instructor, which is huge, because a lot of departments don't have that, and they have to go out looking for instructors. The Oxford 250 is all scheduled out, we're ready to go. The schedule that I put together, we can handle it with just our department there this year. I've worked with the track, they feel comfortable with what I put together, and my next mission now is the fair. I've been trying to get that ready to go. And that's where we're at right now. I'll be glad to get the charges on the road, but again, it's slow going. But I think most of you have seen them. They look, in my opinion, they look really sharp, and they're nice cars. So.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the board? Adam?
So, just a couple of things I'll run through a list. One is about the town office, the one on Pottle Road. The quick update there is that things are coming along. Contractor's been working on the clerk's area and that public space that's like kind of stage 1, if you will, that's coming along nicely. The recreation department, following up on that discussion, we all know that we are in search of a rec director. I've got that currently advertised until the end of the month, and so that'll give a good 30-day advertising time. Between now and then, though, one of the things that I've run into is I'm finding that with the small events that are going on, we just need somebody that can open and close the building, clean the bathrooms, just kind of not be a director, but just kind of tend to the place some. So there's one of the women that works, Julie Young is her name. She works as a beach attendant. She's agreeable to helping us with just, like 10, 12 hours a week of just checking on the place and keeping the place clean, helping set things up or what have you. So you'll see her around a little bit more. I don't expect that to be a huge thing. She is also going to help check the email for us and forward us anything that's important. So, and then also the Welchville Dam, I actually had a good conversation earlier today with VHB, the engineer that the town's working with, and the Maine DEP permit has now been approved, and so the next step is the Army Corps permit, And that takes approximately 60 days, the engineer said. And so the plan moving forward is I've got the engineer scheduled to join us on October 6th at that Selectmen's meeting. And what hopefully we'll be moving along with the Army Corps permitting, but what we'll need to talk about at that point is, are we gonna move forward with this project or not? Because the engineer's gonna need to be putting together the RFPs for the work and so forth. And then we would need to, once we get to that stage, we need to revisit the contract with the engineering service if we're gonna have them oversee that process or not. And then, if all goes according to plan, we'll be out to bid in December, and grade controls construction will be in 2023. And then we would do a year-long study, with the dam just wide open, but the grade controls controlling the water. And if all goes well, then we would, be back to discussing the removal of the dam. So I think I thought that was good progress that happened today with the Wellsville stuff.
Well, I read your email to us, and I'm not in favor of what's gonna happen. I wasn't in favor of putting those small rock piles in the inlet and outlets. And my idea is that when I got you out, you put that thing together for Senator Collins, was to repair that dam, not to tear it out. And I'm dead set against tearing that dam out or putting those rock piles in to slow the current of water. And whatever I can to make sure that's not going to happen.
So on October 6th, that's why I told them I wanted the VHB engineer here, is because I know that there's some on the board that have your opinion. And I think that's kind of the end-all moment. We need to make a decision. The board needs to make a decision based on the facts and circumstances that we have. Is it to move forward with repair and replace, or is it to move forward with these burn things? So,
George Calder, just so I get you right, you're talking, you're thinking of reworking it the way that it's always been. You're not, but the way I took it, this money was to put in a new dam. Am I wrong on that?
That's the idea.
Okay, all right.
$800,000, which if it goes through, but not to put berms in and tear the dam up.
Well, they gotta put something up there while they work on it.
No, I'm talking about the inlets that I'm walking in with you. Then when we talk about the rock.
Yeah, I thought this was kinda out the window if we go into the dam.
I did too, but I guess it's still in.
well, I mean, you got to wait till we get funding and so forth. I mean, I didn't think we wanted to pull the plug on.
No, we got it. Keep going. I'm good.
Number 8, selectmen items.
Yeah, I think that was a good one right there, right?
It's been a couple times now. I think we need to add the fire chief to the review of specifically the marijuana places, because there are state statutes that pertains to those as well as far as code. So I would just like to see that both the police chief and fire chief sign off on those.
Yep, the new licensee, he actually is on there. Yep. The copy you guys got, we didn't have the signatures from the chiefs on it because it hadn't gone all the way, but the one that Wendy has is going to pass around. We'll have that on there. So.
Matthew, you have a question?
Off the speed limit sign on the Beaver Road, just above East Oxford intersection. Pole's still there, the sign's gone.
Right at the top of the hill there.
Right as you start up the hill past Henry's,
That's gone.
a pole's still there.
Yeah.
Who took that?
Okay.
Somebody that likes speed limit.
Yeah. It's in somebody's bedroom.
Number 9, sign warrants, 11, 12, 13, 14.
just kind of glad to see you put this back in. The incident reports?
Yes.
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 Your incident reports.
Learn how to get into that. Whoa, learn how to do it. First day or so wasn't all that pretty.
At least it's not a pointless night.
Yeah. That's it.
Do we have a motion for the warrants?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Number 10, executive session, to enter into executive session for labor contract discussions pursuant to MRSA Title I, Chapter 13, Section 4056A. All those in favor? We're in 7 p.m.
You will be, that's all. And you can tell.
I want my car.
Okay, yeah, when we meet up, that sounds good. Thank you. See what we can do. Yeah, that'd be great. And do you have the Teams thing on this?